Hey everyone, we are back with another update video, and with me as always is Corey.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
And before we dive right into DaemonClaw, we did want to give a thanks to Retro Gamer Boy, who just made a great video covering Metal Mack, its campaign, and also plugging DaemonClaw at the same time, which was great. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, shout out to Retro Gamer Boy. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it was really nice. He also gave some nice coverage to our plans for the bonus round magazine. That's part of the Metal Mat campaign, and we hope to eventually do a bonus round magazine for each of our games. And future Mike will edit in part of the little video I made, also kind of promoting the magazine.
Yeah, for all you DaemonClaw fans, how do you guys feel about getting a magazine dedicated to it? Just let us know in the comments.
Yeah, in his video, he also showed some new boss fight footage for one of the bosses in Metal Mac, and Corey and Chris are actually working on the Neo Geo enhanced version of that boss fight. So in the near future, you guys should be able to see how that will look on the Neo Geo version. Oh yeah, and one more cool thing that just happened today is Chris Hulsbeck finished the theme song for Metal Mac. So we've added that to the bottom of the Kickstarter campaign. So if you go to the Metal Mac Kickstarter page now and scroll near the bottom, you will see and be able to listen to a pretty decently long clip of the Metal Mac theme song. And now on to DaemonClaw. So on the modern version, we are on Steam now. So it took several attempts getting feedback for things we had to tweak on the Steam store page and the kind of little check boxes in there to get it finally approved, but it was approved, and then we ordered and received the Steam keys for all of you backers and anyone who bought that kind of deluxe Mega Drive version from NeoFid that includes the Steam key. So all of those Steam keys were procured by NeoFid, and they sent them all out today to all of you backers. So keep an eye out. If you did not get an email, or do not get one certainly by the time this video is out, which will be the day after NeoFid started sending out these Steam keys, then feel free to contact NeoFid and let them know if you for some reason did not. But obviously before that happens, double check your spam filter or spam folder in your email client to make sure it's not sitting in there for you. So to just recap what the Steam version is, it lets you play right now the complete Mega Drive version and the work in progress PC version. That's why it's in early access, because the modern PC version is not yet finished. You can play the modern PC version all the way through as Elric in the normal arcade mode, but there's not yet difficulty settings. There's certainly some bugs and some polish that still need to be done. We have not yet added the second playable character or the other play modes, so there's still a ways to go for that. And right now the Neo Geo version is not playable through the Steam version, but once that's ready for kind of final testing, then we'll probably put that up on Steam, or certainly by the time it's done it'll end up on the Steam version as well. And then I'm hoping that we're going to keep up this roughly every 3 weeks update video cycle, and I'm going to try to synchronize a new update to the Steam version for every update video. So roughly at least once a month at the least, there should be some progress to be seen and experienced on the modern version for Steam, while I also work with
Pixel Heart
to continue to wrap up the Neo Geo version. And speaking of the Neo Geo version, what we can show, and Future Mike should be working in right now, is the third and final demon attack that Zardona can do. And as you can see, it is a tentacle demon, kind of an abstracted thing where its head, kind of disembodied head, floats above Zardona while its tentacles come out of a portal in the ground.
Nice.
It took quite a while. It was a lot of detail to animate and stuff. So I'm going to actually hop into good old Promotion NG now that you've seen it at full speed in the game. Now we can kind of quickly show you a more in-depth behind the scenes of the animation itself. So as you can see, like I said, we've got this disembodied head kind of floating above Zardana as the tentacles come out, and there's two that do a rapid sequence. So you get the first one and then the second attack, and then they go back in as the head fades away. And keeping in mind the Neo Geo can't do any actual like alpha translucent effects or anything like that, So we're
Right.
using some vertical and horizontal scan line and more traditional, more never checkerboard, but still a more traditional kind of dither fade out. But I also
Yeah,
added, yep, go ahead, Corey.
checkerboard can work for certain things, but not like this kind of fade. I
Yeah.
understand why you don't want to do that because it can
Yeah.
look too rigid and yeah.
Yeah, and basically the idea is a dither checker, and I think we did a video on this before, or it was part, it may have actually been part of our video on the Amiga forensic pixology, because we went into
Oh
different
yeah.
dithering methods. And the whole point is, to not make this too long, is the standard checkerboard pattern made perfect sense back in the old days when everyone was, not only was every player on a CRT monitor, but or a TV, but so were the actual pixel artists making the art. So the checkerboard dither pattern didn't read strongly as a specific checkerboard texture back in the day because of the built-in blurring of CRT screens. But that's not the case these days. So modern pixel artists should pay more mind to what style of dithering or feathering,
Right.
or any word you want to use for it, that you're using, because not only when you're using it to kind of smooth the gradation, it's going to also add a specific texture. So you want to pick what kind of pattern you're using in your dither to reinforce that texture instead of go against that texture. For example, if you're trying to use a dithering technique on something that's supposed to be smooth metal, you don't want to use the checkerboard technique because that makes it look like very grainy, coarse texture, that kind of
Right.
thing. So, and again, these days on modern monitors, it's also going to look very sharp and very obviously, specifically a non-organic checkerboard pattern. So for
Yeah,
this
and
particular, yep, good, Corey.
well, and I was gonna add to that and say like for this too,
Yeah,
like the way you're doing the fade out kind of vertical, that's why you used
exactly.
the vertical lines. So yeah, it's
Exactly.
perfect. Yeah, it's
So,
really well
and
done.
that's exactly what I was going to say, to kind of marry the dithering style with the actual effect. You could see that I'm vertically stretching the entire head of the demon as it's fading away to give even more kind of credence to this vertical dithering style. So basically, I had to pick something not a checkerboard style to fade it away. So the two obvious options are vertical or horizontal.
Vertical.
Felt like it made the most sense to me, and to really tie everything together and make it kind of pay off as a magical effect to kind of hide the fact that you're working within the technical constraints of the system. That's why I went with vertical, and I emphasize that in the artwork itself, not just in the dither style. So that's why it stretches visually as it's disappearing in the vertical. But yeah, great observation as always, Corey. And then finally, I did mention that I did not have the time I had hoped to work on the Zardona illustration you saw in the past, that I've got the other two demons fairly well worked out on the Zardona trading card illustration. I did not have time to add him in yet, so I'm hoping by the next update video, he should be pretty well represented in that card illustration as well. So now that getting it on Steam is done, and I took care of several other important things that needed to get done, now my focus is going to be on wrapping up the cards, and then in the relative near future, wrapping up the art book with Corey, and then I'll be working on an update every 3-ish weeks for the Steam version. And all this time, I continue to work with the programmer Cedric at Pixel Heart to continue to get all the missing things into the Neo Geo version of DaemonClaw. And in general, he's just also, on top of adding in these new Zardona things, he's just continuing to work on everything that's still not fully implemented or debugged in the game. So stay tuned for that. In future updates, we'll be able to get into a bit more granular kind of progress reports for these last two versions of DaemonClaw, what's been done and what's left to be done. So we will start doing that in the relative near future. And that's about it for this one, but just to let you guys know, in the description there are links for everything you'll need to either buy the Mega Drive version from NeoFid or pre-order the Neo Geo version from Pixel Heart, or go to Steam and get all three versions, or at first only the Mega Drive version and the work-in-progress PC version, but then also the Neo Geo version via Steam. So all those links will be there, and otherwise, thank you very much. That's it for this one.
If you enjoy our content and want to keep up to date on our games, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you want to support our projects, consider becoming a patron. The link's in the description, and we'll see you soon.